Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. Did you like my title for this video? Foot fetish. No, it was actually a title that I came up with late last night before I went to bed. Every day I make a list of videos that I'm going to make. And it had been something that I was thinking about earlier. I try to sit outside for a half an hour every night. And last night I was reading a little bit. I've been going through some books in the basement. I found this poetry book, and I was reading different things. And I was just kind of sitting there in the silence of outside, listening to the outside noises last night, being very peaceful. And I was thinking to myself about this saying that I heard from a friend of mine several years ago in recovery. And it's a saying that has really, really stuck with me, and nothing that I really say over here is original wisdom. It's things I've heard, things I've applied, things that have worked for me. One of the things that I am so incredibly grateful for being sober today and in a 12-step program, because I've had the chance to interact with other people. And like I say, 12-step program is not the only way to get sober. There's many ways to get sober. And I respect all those ways. I just don't want people to die today or have their lives majorly altered due to drugs and alcohol. But one of the things that being in a 12-step program has offered me is that I've had a lot of people pass on wisdom to me that they learned from other people or they came up with themselves, I have moments I can literally see, myself standing outside of a meeting talking to my old sponsor that has since passed away and talking to him about something I was stressed out about that had happened 6 months before. This is 15 years ago probably. And he said, basically the whole spilt milk conversation, you can't change what happened, so why are you stressing out and worried about something that you can't change today? I remember having that conversation. I remember my other sponsor that passed away the same year that he did, my other sponsor that I had for a very long time, would say to me, 90% of the things that we worry about never even happen. And I remember him saying that to me, and I remember that that's something that I lived on for years on end, was that 90% of the things that I worry about don't even ever come to fruition. So I just spend my time spinning my wheels and worrying about it, I just shared this on a vlog the other night that I heard this saying when I came back to meetings, and I was listening to this woman's lead, and she talked about how every day somebody would ask her, the same person would ask her, how are you doing? She'd say, I'm doing okay. But inside she was dying, And I wasn't dying inside, but I was not in a good place when I came back into meetings. And there was a woman, and she's a dear friend of mine today. And every time I see her, she always says, I effing love you, Peter Monn. And I love her to this. I mean, she's just somebody that when she walks in a room, she lights up the energy, And so she, every day, she was one of the first people I met when I started going back to meetings. And at the time, I think she had 30 or 40 years of sobriety. And every day she'd check in with me. She'd be, hey, how are you doing today? And I'd say, I'm doing okay. And then I heard this lead. And I thought to myself, the next time, if she asks me, the next time I'm going to be honest with her. And the next time I saw her, she said, how are you doing? I said, I'm not doing very good. And she said, well, let's go out, let's go outside and talk after the meeting and stuff. And we did. And we talked. And she didn't give me the wisdom of the world. She didn't change my life. But just hearing that of allowing myself to open up to somebody, I think in early sobriety, the slogans, the recovery slogans really, really helped me, and I still hear them today, keep it simple, stupid. KISS, keep it simple, stupid, one day at a time. One day at a time kept me sober for a very long time, one day at a time, what was reduced to 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got, and that has really been profound for me through the years, to think that if I always do what I always did, I'll always get the same result that I always got. And I think about that a lot, that nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't change what you're doing, nothing's going to change. I think a lot about that with my weight loss journey today. So all these things that I've learned, and that's just, that is just the tip of the pencil when it comes to all of the mass amount of things I've learned, the one-liners I've heard, I heard a friend of mine say years ago that, and we talk about cleaning house, meaning inventory of needing to make amends to people, or wrongdoings, or having hurt people, or taking care of your own mental health and things like that. And I had a friend of mine, he'd been sober at the time about 35, 40 years. And he said, I don't think God comes to visit my house very much if my house isn't clean. And I was like, damn, you need to take care of stuff. You need to take care of business. If you're in a negative space, God can't live in a negative space necessarily, or you can't see what God's saying to you if you are a spiritual person, however you define that spirituality, whatever. But that spiritual being can't come through to you, or you can't hear that kind of word, or that kind of be led that way if your thoughts are all negative all the time, and that really put it out to me. And then I think the most powerful thing that I've ever heard was the wheelbarrow analogy, which I've talked a lot about in my vlog, and the time that I really practiced it and talking about spirituality is that I've always, ever since I got sober, like the first 2 years I really struggled with this idea of a higher power, and then I kind of was like, okay, I have one, but I didn't really know what it was, and then I went on the spiritual journey. But for years, I've just been like, oh yeah, God this, and I call my higher power God just to be easier, but anyway, it's a combination of a lot of different things. And so, but I was in a meeting. It was the night that our dog Tucker passed away after I went home. And, it was after the accident, and then Tucker was sick. And I can remember sitting in this meeting. It was my first meeting back after the accident. And one of my friends was talking about the wheelbarrow analogy. And it's where this guy, there's several different tellings of it, but the way that I heard it originally was that this guy is going over the Grand Canyon on this tightrope in a wheelbarrow. And he comes back, and this guy's watching him. And he looks at the guy, and he says, do you believe that I can make it over the tightrope and the wheelbarrow? And the guy's like, yeah, I believe that you can do it. He's like, I just saw you do it. And the guy looks at him and goes, do you have faith that I can do it? And the guy's like, well, sure, I have faith that you can. You just did it. I just saw you do it. Of course I have faith. And he goes, get in the wheelbarrow. And I remember I heard that night, and it just was like chills, And then I came home that night, and then Tucker passed away that night, and it just was really horrible. And I can remember standing outside with little Boo Radley, who's sleeping next to me, and he was like, out in the yard, and I just looked up at God, and I was like, I have not been in the wheelbarrow. Like, I either need to be in the wheelbarrow, or I need to shut my mouth, right? Like, I either need to have faith, and there's a God and I'm not it, or I need to just, I've been in and out of the wheelbarrow. And that's a struggle for me. I still to this day, I wouldn't say I'm in the wheelbarrow 100% of the time, but I remind myself of that. When I start questioning things, I'm like, are you in the wheelbarrow? Do you have faith? Maybe there's things that works here that you don't understand today, that maybe down the road you will understand. But the reason that I call this video Foot Fetish is because I was thinking about this last night as I was sitting on the front porch, that one of my favorite things I've ever heard was from a friend of mine a couple years ago. And she was talking about how, when she gets stuck in things in the past, she gets stuck on this happened and this happened and this happened, things we can't change. And she gets stuck on things that are happening in the future, she gets worried and stressed out about things that she can't do anything about today or whatever, because she's living in today, right? That's one of the things in recovery, is that we live in today. We're just given a daily reprieve. Now, there are a lot of things that we can plan for in the future, but we can't control the future. We can't change the future. And so we live in today. And sometimes we need reminders of that. I'm not a perfect example of anything. That's why I need all these mantras and slogans and sayings and whatever, because they remind me, right? Like when I'm having an off day, people say, Peter, how do you stay so positive? I am not positive all the time. I need reminders. I need gratitude lists. I need to do the work. I last night wrote down a gratitude list. I need that sometimes, right? I need therapy. I had therapy today, I need to talk to my support system. I need all of those tools to help me see things, because I need reminders of that. But I'll never forget, she said, that her sponsor had told her to ask herself on days that she's getting consumed with the past or worried about the future, where are your feet? And she said, she looked down and she was like, my feet are right underneath me. And she goes, and where are you? And she's like, I'm here. And her sponsor was like, and where is here? And she's like, this place. And she's like, and what day is it? And she said the day. And she said, so your feet are here right now in today, not tomorrow, not at some place down the road, not a trip, not paying taxes, not an event that happened to you at 4 years old. You're in today. You're today. Your feet are in today. You are in today, dealing with whatever happened in the past or what you're worried about in the future. So let's stay in today. And it was so powerful for me, because I am somebody that can have we say all the time, 1 foot in the future, 1 foot in the past, you poop all over today. And I've done that for much of my life, and it was very, very powerful for me to hear that. So today, when I get really stressed out about things in the future that I can't control, we're really excited, but then I'm just kind of gliding over days, or I get really upset about something that happened to me in my past that maybe those people don't even know that hurt me, or something happened that maybe they passed on, or they don't even know, or they're living their own lives, and I become consumed with it, or consumed with something that happened in my past. Maybe if I'd done this different, maybe if I'd done that different, maybe things would turn out different. They would have turned out different. Maybe my life would be in a what if? And I'm doing that. I ask myself, where are your feet? Well, my feet are in today. Today, I can change today. Today, I can change what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm acting, who I'm talking to, how I'm talking to them, how I'm treating people in my life, how I receive things from other people, how I respond or react to other things. Today, I have that. Tomorrow, I can't control. Yesterday, I can't do anything about that. But today, my feet are underneath me. Today, my feet are in today, which is why I call this foot fetish. Because that will be a good way for me to remember it in the future, because I do not have a foot fetish. In fact, I think, do whatever, and I'm not going to get too personal or weird in this Peterisms video, but foot fetishes have always confused me. I think, hey, more power to whatever your thing is, but foot fetishes have always confused me. So I think going forward, I'm going to refer to this as foot fetish, because then it will remind me when I say that, where are your feet? My feet are in today, and I'm in today. And today is an amazing day, because I was given another day alive to live to the best of my ability. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.